I thank Madam Rosti for her briefing, and I now give the floor to Ramesh Rajasingham.
Thank you, Mr. President. As Deputy Special Envoy Rushdie has just described, Syria continues to navigate a challenging but crucial opportunity to build a better future. These efforts come amid what remains one of the world's largest humanitarian crises, affecting more than 70% of the population. Syria's humanitarian crisis is long-standing, but it is not static. Developments on the ground continue to add or to exacerbate people's needs. Clashes in parts of Aleppo early this month caused civilian casualties and temporarily displaced some families. While the ceasefire in As-Sweida has largely held, the fragile and unpredictable security environment continues to affect the movement of people and goods, and this has led to shortages and high prices for critical items like fuel and bread, hampered the restoration of critical services including healthcare and water, and prevented displaced people from returning to their homes. Explosive ordnance continues to take a deadly toll. Last week alone, 16 incidents were recorded across the country, killing 3 people and injuring 19 others, including 6 children. And since December, more than 550 people have been killed in such incidents and over 800 more injured, nearly a third of them children. Amid the historic drought conditions, wildfires in Latakia, Tartus, and Homs governorates affected over 5,000 people during the past month, displacing dozens of families, damaging valuable agricultural land, and disrupting essential services. All this comes on top of the long-standing needs in the country. Some 7 million people remain internally displaced, including 1.3 million who are living in camps or similar sites and who are particularly vulnerable to the onset of winter. An estimated 2.4 million children remain out of school, with 1 million more at risk of dropping out. 1 in 3 schools are unusable because they have been damaged or are sheltering displaced people. Mr. President, the UN and our partners continue to do what we can to provide assistance as efficiently as possible with the available resources and in line with the broader humanitarian reset. Despite reduced funding, we are reaching 3.4 million people on average each month across Syria, 25% more than the same period last year, capitalizing on better access. In As-Sweida governorate and neighboring areas, dozens of humanitarian convoys organized with the Syrian Arab Red Crescent have been organized, allowing us to deliver blankets, mattresses, medical and health supplies, education materials, food and fuel to an average of 424,000 people per month since July. WFP has delivered hundreds of tons of wheat flour to bakeries in As-Sweida, Daraa, and rural Damascus, in addition to their ongoing program supporting subsidized bread for 2 million people each month across the country. In response to the recent wildfires, OCHA led interagency assessments to affected areas, helping to mobilize food, water, fuel, health services, and household items, alongside assistance provided by SARC and the efforts led by the Ministry of Emergencies and Disaster Management to contain the fires. And UNICEF is working with the Ministry of Education to support a Back to Learning campaign to reach displaced and other at-risk children, rebuild schools, and expand access in remote areas. Mr. President, in this challenging funding environment, the OCHA-managed Syria Humanitarian Fund and Syria Cross-Border Humanitarian Fund, which are now emerging as part of our operational transition, have become even more critical. With allocations totaling $84 million so far this year, the funds are supporting a range of critical services across the country. This includes providing water, sanitation, and other services in Al-Hol and other camps in northeast Syria, clearing explosive ordnance in the Aleppo countryside, and supporting solar power water supply. About 63% of the current allocation is going directly or indirectly to national partners. My sincere thanks goes to the member states supporting these funds, including the Netherlands, Canada, and the UK, as the biggest contributors to these funds this year, as well as others around the table today. We also continue to make full use of deliveries from Turkey, with the consent of Syrian authorities. This year, over 300 trucks per month have used this route to get assistance to locations across the country. We also continue to work with the authorities and other partners to better tailor our assistance to the current needs. WFP recently launched the annual Food Security Assessment in collaboration with Syria's Planning and Statistics Commission. Mr. President, we can do more to help the people of Syria if these three conditions are met. Firstly, de-escalating ongoing flashpoints and preventing new ones. As I mentioned, outbreaks of violence continue to result in loss of lives, new displacement, and increased humanitarian needs. Insecurity also makes our work harder. Clashes in Aleppo and Deir ez-Zor disrupted several roads, including the main highway between Aleppo and Al-Raqqa. In As-Sweida, the fragile security environment continues to complicate movements and limit commercial supply chains, preventing the restoration of services. Preventing violence is also critical for recovery efforts to take hold. Without it, over-reliance on emergency assistance will remain unavoidable, but it is not the solution the people of Syria need or want. Secondly, we need more funding for critical humanitarian aid. Our response plan for Syria remains only 19% funded, one of the lowest levels among our biggest appeals. This month, water trucking services for internally displaced persons in parts of Al-Raqqa were suspended, and trucking in Al-Hasakeh will be curtailed next month without more resources. The World Food Programme warns that without any additional funding, they will have to scale back their assistance by January. Over 340 health facilities have suspended services, reducing access to healthcare and medicine for more than 7 million people. Funding cuts have closed at least 45 service points for survivors of gender-based violence this year. This comes as a new report from UNFPA highlights that despite a surge in hope around the transition in Syria, many women and girls continue to report widespread insecurity and gender-based violence. Thirdly, we need tangible investments in development and reconstruction projects as soon as possible. The reduction in conflict, steps to ease or remove sanctions, and substantial interest in private investment, particularly from the region, have created real opportunities, but we need concrete steps to mobilize resources and to do so quickly. Over 1 million refugees have now returned to Syria since December, a profoundly hopeful milestone. But many of them, along with 1.9 million internally displaced people who have also returned, need more investment in basic services, shelter, and reconstruction to ensure these returns are sustainable. Last month in New York, Syria was a focus of a number of engagements around the General Assembly, High-Level Week. OCHA and other UN humanitarian partners had a valuable discussion with Foreign Minister Ash-Shabani and the permanent representative of Syria on scaling up humanitarian support and improving the conditions for more returns and rebuilding. Syria has a viable path forward towards Syrian-led recovery, supported by development partners and away from reliance on a massive emergency humanitarian operation. We should push ourselves to move quickly along this path, but we should also be under no illusion that getting there will require decisive and sustained action from the international community, including maintaining the flow of critical humanitarian aid as these efforts advance. Thank you, Mr. President.
I thank Mr. Rajasingham for his briefing, and I now give the floor to those council members who wish to make